1 Kings 17 to 19. Well, this is the story of Elijah, a very fast-paced narrative about a man who was called by God to confront the primary crisis of the northern kingdom. That, of course, is idolatry. Elijah, named by his parents very simply, you can see in the name Elohim, El. The letter I means my, and Yah, of course, is Yahweh. So basically, just means Yahweh is my Elohim. And he's born somewhere over in the Transjordan, apparently. He comes pretty much abruptly into the story in 1 Kings 17 out of nowhere, and he confronts King Ahab, and he says, "It will not rain until Yahweh says so." And again, Ahab had brought in to worship the god Baal of Tyre. That's because of his wife Jezebel, way up in Sidon, had brought her, or she had brought him, or this god down. And so this is a challenge of which God is going to control the rain, basically. God then tells Elijah to go and hide somewhere down by the Dead Sea, and he's fed by ravens. Next thing we hear is God tells Elijah to go, and it's off the map north of here, but it's a little town called Zarephath. It's up in Sidon. It's where Jezebel was from. And he meets a woman who thinks she's about to die. She is so impoverished. And so the story is that the oil and the flour don't give out while Elijah sojourns there with this woman and her son. The son even dies, and he is brought back to life by Elijah. So just a beautiful story of God's provision in a time of poverty. Jesus will much later bring this story up because he went to a Gentile. Of all the people that Elijah could have ministered to, God chose to send him to a Gentile woman. Well, the next thing we hear is he comes back down from Zarephath to Samaria again. Again, that's the capital city of the northern kingdom, and he confronts Ahab, and he says, it's time to have a challenge. And Ahab says, "Are you the troubler of Israel that I've been looking for?" And Elijah says, "Well, you've been the one to trouble us because of your idolatry." But the challenge is then made to go up to Carmel. Now, the Mount Carmel is right on the coast of the Mediterranean. It's a very lush area, and it's up on a hill, and it overlooks a beautiful valley here. And this is where the challenge was then made. Here is the words of Elijah. "You," and that's the 450 prophets of Baal, "you shall call on the name of your Elohim, and I will call on the name of Yahweh. And the Elohim who answers by fire, he is Elohim." Notice the comparative nature of this challenge. He's the one that we will call or worship as Elohim. And all the people answered and said, "It is well spoken." They must have seen some kind of power by this deity in times past, and so they say, "You're on, Elijah," and we have two unlit sacrifices now, and which one will be lit by the God will be the challenge. They dance around, the prophets of Baal dance around almost the whole day. Elijah teases them. Your God must be musing. He must have gone aside, possibly to relieve himself, as some commentators think. Or he's on a long journey. They start to cut themselves, and nothing happens. It seems as though Yahweh has silenced Baal that day. And then Elijah steps up, and near the end of the day, he takes 12 jars of water, completely douses his sacrifice, and this is what he says, very simple prayer. "Yahweh Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known this day that you are Elohim in Israel. Hear me, O Yahweh, hear me, that this people may know that you are the Yahweh Elohim, and that you have turned their hearts backwards." I take that to mean you are responsible as the God of this nation to be the one both to see the people go into rebellion but come back out of their rebellion based upon your power today. And of course what happens is the fire, or like lightning, comes down and strikes the sacrifice, and this is what happens. All the people saw it, they fell on their faces, and they cried out, "Yahweh, he is Elohim. Yahweh, he is Elohim." And the people then that were on Elijah's side seem to have surrounded the 450 prophets of Baal, and they were executed there down by a local riverbank. Well, then Elijah runs ahead of Ahab's chariot all the way back to Jezreel, a city right there in the valley. That's a 17-mile run. And of course, God was the one that gave him the power to do that. But then he hears that Jezebel is going to kill him. So out of fear, and who wouldn't be, he runs basically south. And this is a 60-mile path down to Beersheba. And he asks God to let him die. He seems to be so downcast about the situation. Then he even goes farther south, a 40-day journey down to Horeb, or Mount Sinai, off the map to the south, where Moses received the Ten Commandments, and there he hears God in a still small whisper, basically telling him, things are okay. You are still my man for this situation. And he was discouraged, apparently. And so then he's told to come back up. And as he does, he meets Elisha. He is told by God that he will be his replacement. And he also is then told that there will be found in Israel 7,000 people. In other words, Elijah's not alone. There will be 7,000 people who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. So that is, again, the main point of the Elijah narrative. He's like a David figure to me. He's a man who may be weak of character, nervous, or may make mistakes of character, but that's not the story. That's not the issue. The issue is that God wants to find people after his own heart, people who will not bow the knee to Baal, and that's what he finds both in the person of Elijah and through his ministry. Yahweh's character and Yahweh's reputation is enhanced.